Hey everyone, and welcome back. Ready to dive into something new today?
Always up for an adventure. What are we digging into today?
Well, get ready to explore San Jacinto, California.
San Jacinto. I have to admit, that one wasn't really on my radar.
I hear you, but that's what makes these deep dives so fun, right? You might think it's just another dot on the map, but trust me, this place has layers.
Okay, you've piqued my curiosity. What kind of layers are we talking about here?
We're about to uncover a hidden history, richer than a slice of Ramona pageant pie, and yes, we'll get to that delicious tidbit in a bit.
Intriguing. Lead the way.
So to kick things off, we're talking about a place where the echoes of the Luiseño people, the first inhabitants of the San Jacinto Valley, still resonate.
The Luiseño people. I'm not familiar with them.
Our sources from Wikipedia really highlight their deep connection to this land, establishing villages long before any European settlers arrived.
It's always humbling to be reminded that the history we often read about is just one layer, superimposed on a much older story.
Right. It makes you realize how much happened in a place before it even showed up in, the history books.
Absolutely. So how does San Jacinto's story unfold from those early days?
Well, fast forward to the 1770s, and you have Spanish explorers trekking through on the Anza Trail, one of the first European routes through the area.
Ah, the Anza Trail. Now that's a name I recognize.
They're the ones who slapped the name San Jacinto on the valley, honoring St. Hyacinth as they carved out one of the first European routes through this area.
It's fascinating how place names can become these subtle time capsules, hinting at the waves of cultural influence that watched over a region.
Right. Imagine those explorers pushing through the San Jacinto Valley, claiming it for Spain, completely unaware that a record-breaking transpolar flight would one day touch down in the same spot.
Wait, hold on. A transpolar flight?
Yeah.
In San Jacinto?
Yeah. In 1937, Mikhail Gromov and his crew took off from Moscow in their Tupolev AN-T-25, aiming to shatter the record for the longest uninterrupted flight.
Over 6,000 miles. That's incredible.
Right. Over 6,000 miles later, they touched down in San Jacinto. Talk about putting this place on the map.
It's amazing how even a city steeped in ancient history can become the backdrop for such groundbreaking moments. Did they, mark the spot or anything?
Oh, absolutely. San Jacinto doesn't shy away from its claim to fame. They mark the spot with a monument now designated California State Historical Landmark, number 989.
I love how they commemorated that. So we've got ancient history, a record-breaking flight.
Yeah.
What else?
Okay, but even before Gromov's daring landing, San Jacinto was already making its mark as a city. In 1883, the San Jacinto Land Association laid the foundation, and just 5 years later, boom, it officially became one of Riverside County's oldest incorporated cities.
That's a pretty quick turnaround. What drove its early growth?
It's an interesting mix, actually. You had agriculture, especially dairy farming, humming along.
Dairy farms, I wouldn't have pictured that.
But at the same time, the nearby hot springs drew tourists seeking relaxation and maybe a miracle cure.
Ah, the allure of a good hot spring. It's a classic tale of two economies, right? You got folks milking cows in the shadow of these hot springs, catering to a whole different crowd hoping to soak their troubles away. And speaking of unexpected pairings, San Jacinto has another intriguing twist up its sleeve, its connection to Hollywood.
Wait, really? Hollywood. We're going Hollywood now.
You bet. The Ramona pageant, California's official outdoor play, has graced the stage since 1923.
Since 1923, that's almost 100 years of theatrical tradition. But why San Jacinto? Fill us in.
The city played a crucial role in its founding and remains a staunch supporter to this day. It's not just cows and hot springs. There's a vibrant cultural heart beating beneath the surface.
That's what I love about these deep dives. Just when you think you've got a place figured out, bam, you uncover a hidden layer that flips the script.
And this is where our deep dives takes us from the unexpected to the truly fascinating.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Remember those hot springs we talked about?
Yeah, the ones drawing tourists seeking relief.
Well, some were seeking a different kind of escape.
Really? Like what?
The glitz and glamour of Hollywood.
No way, Hollywood. In San Jacinto.
You bet. The Ramona pageant, a grand outdoor play celebrating California's romantic history.
Oh yeah, the Ramona pageant. I've heard of that.
San Jacinto played a key role in its creation and has remained a devoted supporter for over a century.
Wow, over a century. That's commitment.
It really shows the range of San Jacinto's story, from dairy farms to a transpolar landing to this enduring theatrical tradition.
It really makes you wonder about the people who call this place home today.
Well, if we peek into the numbers from the 2010 census,
Okay, what did the numbers tell us?
we find a population of just over 44,000 people.
44,000, that's a pretty good-sized town.
But it's when we dig a little deeper that the real story emerges.
Oh, how so?
We see the percentage of owner-occupied versus renter-occupied housing, the median income levels, even a percentage of the population living below the poverty line.
It's a good reminder that behind those historical landmarks and cultural gems, there's a living, breathing community.
Exactly, grappling with real-life challenges and triumphs.
Speaking of modern-day life, we can't ignore the presence of the Soboba Casino, right?
Ah, yes, the Soboba Casino.
It's a pretty prominent landmark in San Jacinto.
And this is where history takes an interesting turn.
Oh, tell me more.
The casino isn't just a modern entertainment complex.
What else is there?
It's owned and operated by the Soboba Band of Luiseño Indians.
Wow, that adds a whole other layer of complexity. So the descendants of the valley's original inhabitants are now major stakeholders in its economy.
It speaks to a complex and evolving relationship between the city and its indigenous roots.
It really makes you think about the legacies of the past and how they intersect with the realities of the present.
And it challenges us to think critically about those connections.
Absolutely. History isn't just about dates and events. It's about the lives and legacies of real people.
Speaking of legacies, we can't forget about the Estudillo Mansion.
The Estudillo Mansion. Tell me more.
This grand old home belonged to Francisco Estudillo, a prominent figure in San Jacinto's early days.
What made him so prominent?
He was the city's first postmaster and second mayor.
Talk about a resume. What else do we know about him?
The mansion and its twin nearby were all that remained of a massive 35,000-acre Mexican land grant awarded to their father, José Antonio Estudillo, back in 1842.
Wow, 35,000 acres. That's huge.
It's a glimpse into a bygone era when California was still under Mexican rule.
It's incredible to think about those vast ranchos shaping the landscape.
Absolutely, and the Estudillo Mansion stands as a reminder of that era.
But even grand estates faced their share of change, right?
Of course, nothing stays the same forever.
So what happened to the Estudillo Mansion?
Francisco eventually lost his mansion in foreclosure, but his brother's family held on to theirs for a while longer, using it for family gatherings and even as a burial ground for some family members.
Wow, talk about a house full of stories.
It's a poignant reminder that even as we explore the past, we're actively shaping the future.
And speaking of shaping the future, San Jacinto has some ambitious plans on the horizon.
Oh, like what?
They're set to become the eastern terminus of the Mid-County Parkway, a planned route that would connect them to Paris.
That's a significant development. It'll be interesting to see how that impacts San Jacinto.
It's exciting to think about how this new corridor could impact San Jacinto. New opportunities, connections, a fresh chapter in its ever-evolving story.
It really highlights how San Jacinto is a city on the move, always evolving.
But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's delve a little deeper into the cultural scene here. What's the art scene like in a city with such a strong historical backbone?
You might be surprised to learn that San Jacinto has a thriving arts community. It's not just about preserving the past.
Oh, what else then?
It's about fostering creative expression in the present.
Really? So they've got a thriving modern art scene.
They do. Our sources point to the Diamond Valley Arts Council as a major player.
Diamond Valley Arts Council, I've never heard of them.
Well, they oversee the Esplanade Arts Center, a hub for all things creative.
Okay, the Esplanade Arts Center, got it. What kind of stuff goes on there?
They've got a little something for everyone, from traditional art galleries showcasing local talent to classes for all ages.
So you can learn about art, make art?
You can learn to paint, sculpt, even try your hand at pottery.
Wow, that's pretty cool. It sounds like there's a real commitment to nurturing artistic talent right there in San Jacinto.
There is.
What about performing arts? Any hidden theatrical gems besides the Ramona pageant?
You bet. The Esplanade Arts Center also boasts a performance space that's home to the Inland Stage Company.
The Inland Stage Company. Never heard of them either.
Well, they produce a variety of plays and musicals throughout the year, adding another dimension to San Jacinto's cultural tapestry.
It's amazing how a city with such deep historical roots can also be a hotbed for the arts. It shows a real commitment to fostering creativity and celebrating the human spirit.
It does.
But I guess we can't forget about those who work tirelessly behind the scenes to keep a city running smoothly, right? What can you tell us about the everyday heroes of San Jacinto?
Ah, you're talking about the unsung heroes, the public servants who ensure the safety and well-being of every citizen.
Exactly. What insights do our sources provide about San Jacinto's commitment to public service?
Well, for starters, they highlight San Jacinto's police and fire services.
Okay, makes sense. What's their setup like?
The city relies on the Riverside County Sheriff's Department for law enforcement.
Makes sense.
And when it comes to fire and emergency medical services, they have a unique partnership with the Riverside County Fire Department and Seattle Fire.
Interesting. So a joint effort.
It is. And get this, Fire Station 25 in San Jacinto isn't your average firehouse.
Oh, how so?
It pulls double duty as a Seattle fire station, equipped with a specialized wildland fire engine.
That makes a lot of sense considering San Jacinto's location near those beautiful but potentially fire-prone mountains.
Right.
It's a reminder that even in a city steeped in history, the forces of nature are a constant presence.
Definitely, it's a delicate balance.
Looks so.
Preserving the past while preparing for the future.
And that, I think, is what makes San Jacinto so captivating. It's a microcosm of the California story itself.
It really is.
It's like looking through a window into the soul of California. You see the echoes of indigenous culture, the legacy of Spanish missions and Mexican land grants, the rise of agriculture and tourism, and the complexities of modern city life.
It's all woven together in this one remarkable place.
It really is. Well, as we wrap up our deep dive into San Jacinto, I'm left with a sense of awe and wonder. This seemingly unassuming city has revealed itself to be a treasure trove of history, culture, and human spirit.
It has.
And you know what the best part is? This is just scratching the surface.
Oh, absolutely. There's always more to uncover, more to explore.
Exactly. So to our listeners out there, we leave you with a challenge. What hidden depths are waiting to be discovered in the places you think you know? What stories are hidden in plain sight, just waiting for you to dig a little deeper?
Keep your eyes open, your mind's curious, and you never know what you might find.
And on that note, until next time, keep exploring and keep diving deep.